Topo and I are out here in an area in northern Arizona up by I-17 in the Kaibab National Forest. I came up to gather some juniper and I'm done with that, and it just looks like a fun area to hike through here. We got a volcanic little structure with some elevation, and we're just going to hike up to the top of that and kind of meander around a little bit. Oh, we're just about halfway up. I'm huffing and puffing a little bit, climbing over these big boulders. Well, I've got some shaggy bark juniper, some yucca. What if I stopped and see if I couldn't bust a coal and make a fire up here? Just for shits and giggles. Maybe straight enough for a hand drill. I'll think about it as I'm hiking. I've always called this version of a shaggy bark juniper, but I don't think that it is. They're a smaller shrub that also has bark similar to shaggy bark. But this is about as big as they get anytime I see them. They're cool though, they remind me of bonsai trees. I found some down and dead yuccas, but some seem straight enough. This one might be fat enough to make my board. I'm just gonna peel a little bit of this bark off to make my tinder bundle. It's kind of cool when you walk into an area, relatively small geographical area that has everything that you need to make a fire. Sometimes you have to hike for a bit and kind of just be on the lookout for it. What I'm hoping to do isn't to create a full fire. I'd like to make a coal and then put that into my tinder bundle and get it to the point of flames, and then I'll just stomp it out. Because it's a little windy up here and there's a lot of grass and I don't have water with me, so just looking for a flat spot to do this. Not a bad area. I think this is a good spot. I really like these rocks. I'm wondering if we just had like a volcanic vent real close by, and all this basalt just kind of boiled up from underneath the earth. It's kind of cool. So I'm working one-handed holding the phone, and that's not going to work for doing this. My GoPro has a dead battery, so I'm going to have to just do intermittent videos as I'm making progress. My first step is to take this, get some really fine stuff in the middle. You'll need it really, really fine, surrounded by the coarser material, and that'll be my tinder bundle. I'm just kind of do this one-handed for now. I'm just kind of really squishing that up, losing some of it between my fingers, and I don't want to, so that's kind of the idea. So there's my fine material. I'm starting to wrap it with that coarse stuff, just, you know, kind of making a nest out of it. It's not wanting to stay together, but that's good enough. Here's where I'm going to put my coal right in there, and I've got some extra stuff that I'll kind of do the same thing with, just in case I need to put it over the top of it. All right, time to carve my sticks. So what I've done here is I just use my knife to split that in half. Because for my board, that's what I want. But this is a little hollow, but maybe right around here. Let's look at this other piece. We're gonna try to make this piece work right here. So I'm gonna carve what's called a chimney, and I'll show you that when I'm done. And then you start the area that your drill's gonna go into. So just create a little bowl in the middle, but not too deep, because this isn't real thick. And as I spin the spindle, it's gonna make that deeper, and that's, as the material breaks down and heats up, that's gonna be what becomes my coal. So let's get started. So it really is that simple. This is your chimney. The debris, when you're spinning it, has to have some place to accumulate. Otherwise, it's just gonna disperse all around the outside of the bowl and you'll never get anywhere. It accumulates inside of the chimney here, down towards the bottom, and I'll find something flat that I could lift up when I'm done that has the coal on it. They're really small, really temperamental, so you treat them very carefully as you transfer it into the tinder bundle. All right, so that's my board ready to go. Next step is to get my spindle ready. So this is the piece that I found that's the most straight. A few things I want to do to it to kind of protect my hand. This is going to be the top, and that's very rough right there. That'll tear my hand up. So I'm going to smooth that off. And some of the knobs down the way, I'm going to cut them down as well. And then kind of make a pointy end at this end. So that's going to become my spindle. The reason I'm doing the hand drill method is when you don't have anything with you, it takes less components. Or you just need the spindle and your board and your hands. It's rough on your hands, but if I was going to do a bow drill, I'd have to go find a fresh green piece of wood that would bend for me, create a bow, use my shoestring off my boots, and then I'd also have to find another piece of wood and create a socket for the spindle. So there's just more parts to it, but if you maintain those pieces and you have them with you, then it's easier to do it with the bow drill. But hand drill, when you're just out hiking and you need a fire, less parts. There's some big juniper in the area, so I peeled off a piece of bark. That's going to be my little surface that it's going to collect my coal, I hope. You know what? These big boots are just kind of in the way. They make it a little harder. Sometimes it's just better to be a little barefoot. So, there's my board. I'm gonna put it perpendicular to me because I can put my foot over it to stabilize it. I found that I only ever have one or two passes, and then you're just tired. So what I do is, this is called floating. I'm not really putting a lot of energy into it, but it's kind of heating up the surface there a little bit. I haven't done this in a while, so my hands don't have the calluses on them that are going to protect them. This will likely leave some blisters. I don't know if I made my bowl deep enough. It's coming out a little bit as I'm doing this. So I'd like to see a little smoke before I do my passes. It tells me I'm making some progress, and I'm not seeing that. I'm going to make my chimney a little deeper. As my hole is developing, or the bowl there, the chimney wasn't really going far enough into it for my liking. Try to put some downward pressure. hurts. And I didn't really get much action on it. So we're a little smooth now, and you want friction. You don't want it to be smooth. So if you have a little rock close by, roughen it up a bit on the sides too. Let's see if I have a couple more of these in me. I'm getting the collection of debris that I want. We just got to get it hot enough that it ignites. I'm getting some smoke too right now. And I think I've gone all the way through my board. Nope, I'm gonna keep going. I shouldn't have lifted it there, but my hands are tired. I'm gonna bring this over a little bit. This is what it looks like. And I've got some debris there, but I never got a coal. But it started to heat up in there. I was getting smoke. So I'm gonna let my hands rest, my arms rest a little bit, and I'm gonna try again. All right, I've rested up a bit. My tinder bundle fell apart. I've been moving around. So what I like about this skill and why it's worth learning is I'm using a pocket knife today, but you really don't even have to have a knife. If you're in an area like a creek bed where you have sandstone, striking some boulders together and getting a few sharp shards broken off, that's enough to do this. You can gouge out your chimney with that. You can make the bowl. You snap these things with your hands. You don't need to cut them with a knife. Smooth them off, you know, use what's around you. You can have fire without having anything with you at all if you are persistent with it and you know the basic technique. You don't have to have a go bag. You don't have to have flint and steel. Just your wits. It's one of the things I like about fire starting with sticks. And you can find this when you're out most places in Arizona anyway. You don't have juniper nearby. I posted a video on my channel using dried out cow patties as your tinder bundle. They don't light as easily. It takes longer, but once they're smoldering, they continue to smolder. It's a really good source to start a fire with. So try to position myself a little bit closer to the stick here. See if I can get some more downward pressure. Might have been too far out before. So when I'm floating, I'm keeping the top of this spindle in the middle of my palm. Oh good, I'm already getting some debris building up in the chimney. That's good, because now if I can get some speed to this and some heat, I might be able to ignite that. So I'm just gonna float a little longer. And here we go. I'm already getting smoke. Yeah, some good smoke. Yeah, I think I've got a coal. I'm just gonna keep going just to be sure though. Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna keep that together because I wanna keep it hot. missed when I went to put it in there. Maybe I need a bigger area to drop the coal in. Roughing up the end of it in a bit. I'm going to do the same thing on the inside of my board. Just kind of gouge it a little bit. I'm not digging it out, I'm just roughening up the surface. Again, a rock could do this, small rock. All right. I'm kind of tired, but I'm gonna keep trying this until I can't do it anymore. It popped out on me. Happens when your arms are tired. It doesn't look like this is hard and tiring, but you try it and then you'll sympathize with me, I think, a little bit. And I'm definitely getting blisters on my palms. I can feel the one on my left hand popping up. No go. Well, we tried, and that's the basic skill and the materials that you need to do it. So after working on it for a while, this is my board, and you can get multiple. You don't have to throw the boards away. You can just keep stacking them up right next to each other, and the spindle's good for a long time once you find one that works well for you. This is maybe about 18 inches. All right, so the fire going was a no-go. I wasn't able to bust a coal today. So no luck on completing that to show it go from the friction to the fire. I would have liked to have done that. But I did end up with a nice blister on my hand from it. And on my way down from that hilltop back to the vehicle, the whole hill, all it is red basalt. Not a lot of variety up there. So I found that on the ground. It really stood out, a little black piece of stone with sharp edges. And I had mentioned that you can use rocks instead of knives if you're in that situation. This would have worked perfectly. It would have carved my chimney. It would have made the bowl. I could have used that for the whole process and not needed a knife at all. In fact, it stood out so much from the rock in the area. I wonder if it wasn't brought in or transplanted or a remnant of a tool or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, that and some sticks and a little bit more persistence and patience on my part, and I could have gotten a fire today if I really needed one.